So I'd love to welcome you all to our Awakening Health show today. And we're going to be talking about the benefits of extreme heat, sauna work actually, for supporting our bodies in their perfect functioning. So I'd love to talk with you about my personal experience of using saunas. I love them. They've been a part of my healing practice for many, many years. I've experimented with doing things before, during, and after my saunas for different purposes. And so I'm going to take this a little bit deeper than most people do about saunas. I'm going to talk to you about how saunas benefit our mitochondria, how they support our brain through something called hormesis, and we'll explain that in a few minutes. Hormesis that contributes to our body's growth factors and how beneficial that is to be at D and F, how beneficial the saunas are to supporting our intracellular proteins and therefore our muscle mass. So we'll be talking about a lot of the great benefits. And then I'm also going to introduce you to the Therasage Sauna and why I think it's the best sauna for your money, and all of the wonderful innovations that are constantly happening by the really dedicated people who own the company and are constantly looking at how to make everything better. So let's talk about sauna. So many of us these days are not sweating. And I love how Robbie talks about, for women, they never sweat, they just glisten. So many women are also not glistening. And that is one of the major detox pathways of our bodies, is the skin and sweating. And in ancient times, and really not even so ancient, maybe 300-400 years ago, we know that almost all the diseases that people had to do with heat. Their bodies were strong enough to produce an inflammation, a heat, that would push out their infections, like with a fever. Fever is a natural way that the body uses to heal itself. And when we use a sauna properly, we are actually working on increasing our core temperature. Part of the illness of our times has to do with having a low core temperature. This has been recognized in Europe, and some of the devices that I personally use to look at our level of health and our body's ability to deal with a challenge has to do with our temperature. And the way that our bodies work with this is that when we're stressed, the heat from the surface of the skin goes deep inside the organs of the body so that they can function more effectively. And when we do a sauna, we are working with increasing that core temperature, and that is profound. Our ancestors 2 and 3 generations ago were not dealing with all of these metabolic diseases like diabetes and cancer and heart attacks and all of these kinds of things that are so common. The whole arena of brain issues, of ADD, ADHD, all of these things are relatively new, and there are many, many different things that contribute to them. But one of them is that we just don't have the core temperature to push these toxins out of our bodies. And one of the things that we talk about is something called heat shock proteins. And when we can increase the cellular temperature, when we can get deep into the body and increase our core temperature, heat shock proteins are produced. And those heat shock proteins help us to get rid of old, dysfunctional proteins. And when we get rid of old, dysfunctional proteins and replace them with healthier proteins, everything works better. We're actually able to effectively support our muscle development. And after mid-age, most people who are not, really working on it, who are just living their lives, have anywhere from 0.5% to 1.5% per year muscle mass loss. The use of a sauna and increasing our core temperature will actually support your process of protecting your muscle mass, which is so important as we age for the ability to move and to function and to do more. But not only that, when we raise the temperature, the brain goes through, and the whole body goes through this process that I mentioned earlier called hormesis. It's a big fancy word that really talks about how what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Our bodies are designed to get exercise. And if we work out really strong, intensely, we create a hormetic effect, which, because of the stress that we put on the muscle gets extra energy from the body. The body wants to protect the muscle that has been hormetically damaged to some degree, to a small degree, hopefully, and it will send the energy there, and then the muscle rehabilitates itself. Anything that goes on in our body, our autonomic nervous system is responsible for balancing. So if you are stressing the body, that will cause our body to produce the chemicals and the energetics and the frequencies that it needs to help to remediate that. And that is how working with the heat is so effective, because it has a hormetic effect on our body. And our brains have the most amazing pharmacy of every imaginable chemical. And it calls forth from the brain the right chemicals to start and the right frequencies, the right light, the right light, in order to support the body's own process of healing. And that is profound. The other thing we can do is we can work on building up the body's core temperature. And again, as we build up the body's core temperature, it's able to deal with stressors more and more effectively. So that's why when we take people into doing sauna therapies, we like to start off relatively low temperatures and smaller amounts of time, just to help break a sweat in the beginning. And then little by little building up, and then we can use the sauna in profound ways to help us with healing, even to help the body to find its own way to removing things like viruses and infections and things of that nature. The other thing that is so amazing about working with saunas is that you can literally see people who have had severe toxic exposures, the toxins coming out of the skin. Oftentimes, if somebody has had chemotherapy, as a way to help remove the chemotherapy from the body, and we can't say that medically clearly, but it's fascinating to see how people with chemotherapy, if they're in the sauna, we have them wrapping their bodies or wiping their body's sweat down. And when they wipe the sweat down, they'll oftentimes see all kinds of awful colors and stench coming out of their skin and onto the towels and rags that they're using to absorb the moisture that has come out of their body, the toxins that have been moved out of the body. So many doctors these days who are more focused on supporting the body's own healing process rather than just trying to treat a symptom, are finding that the saunas are helping to reduce heavy metals and also stimulating parasympathetic response. Now, that's a big word to say that we're supporting the body in going into a mode where it relaxes and releases toxins. And that's what happens when we sleep at night when we're in a parasympathetic mode. But we are stimulating that in the sauna itself. And so it also becomes an amazing experience for people who have anxiety conditions. There are so many reports of people who will use a sauna to reduce their anxiety because of its ability to support us by going into a parasympathetic state. There are also really interesting studies that have been done where they'll take a little drop of sweat from a person in the beginning of a sauna when they first start to break a sweat and look microscopically at what toxins are in that sweat. And then at the end of the sauna period, they'll take another drop of sweat and they can see hundreds of times more toxins in the sweat after the sauna than they did at the beginning of the sauna. So this is an extraordinarily effective way to support the healing of the body. Now, there are numerous different types of saunas. There are just dry saunas where we're working with increasing the ambient heat, like with rocks. There are steam saunas where we're using water to affect the temperature of the body. But then there are infrared saunas. And I should tell you that the report that I was talking about, testing the toxin removal from and the looking at the sweat itself microscopically before and after, that test was done with an infrared sauna. And infrared seems to be infinitely more beneficial in the long term because it helps to heat the body from the inside out. It works with a frequency of infrared. Now, most saunas only have FIR, or far infrared frequencies. And the sauna that I'm using, the Therasage, has far infrared frequencies, medium infrared frequencies, and low infrared frequencies. And I just wanted to tell you, I took some notes so I could give you this information more accurately. The near infrared sauna only goes 3 centimeters deep. The medium infrared sauna goes 3 to 8 centimeters deep. And the far infrared goes 8 centimeters to 3 to 4 inches deep. So this makes a really big difference depending upon the body mass of the individual. But oftentimes we want to be able to affect the bone of a person as well as the fatty tissue. But the key thing that far infrared in its different frequencies affects is the water inside of our cells. And so there has been some really exciting information that was done by Dr. Pollack. And Dr. Pollack is talking about a very special type of structured water that is inside of our bodies when we're healthy. And this structured water is in what he calls the 4th stage, or the gel stage of fluid. And I really highly recommend that you take a look at his work and also the beautiful work of Dr. Thomas Cowan. He wrote a book on the heart, and how the heart is not a pump, and he explains it through the profound work of Dr. Pollack and amazing geometrical studies of the heart itself in relationship to the work of Rudolf Steiner and anthroposophical medicine. And they're showing the incredible benefit of creating an environment in your body where your body has easier ability to create this gel state of water. And that is one of the things that Dr. Pollack has shown, that some of the frequencies that are available through a full spectrum, that's what we're talking about here, a full spectrum of infrared, like is available from the sunlight. Our sunlight is native light, real light, and we need as much sunlight as particularly early morning sunlight, and so the sunrise and also the light from the sunset. When we have the most red, infrared, ultraviolet light available to the human body, which is so profoundly important for our eyes and our skin. Our skin has now been shown to be a receptor of light, and that it can use that light to receive the infrared and ultraviolet and other rays of light that we need to stimulate the body's production of different internal chemicals for healing and different frequencies for healing. And this is the kind of research that's been going on for close to 100 years in both Germany and Russia about the colors and the frequency of light that is so profound to us. And in this way, we get the fullest spectrum of the red light that we possibly can from this Therasage device. They're also including in their device specific types of frequencies from stones that are getting rid of EMFs. Now, in Europe in particular, hypothermia has been a primary treatment for all different types of infections, and also a treatment that was used in their clinics for cancer as well. Now, it's not really about treating cancer or treating an infection so much as what we're doing is we're stimulating the body's own ability to produce an immune response that will support your body in its own process of healing. And it's such a deep process and specific process that I'm going to do a whole special video about using hypothermia for infections and for people who have been diagnosed with cancer, simply to help their bodies get stronger and healthier and do something about these things from building its own immune support from within. But there are some exciting, simple things that we can do that will help to increase our benefits from the sauna. When our skin is open and sweating, we are able to more effectively take oxygen into the tissue. So some people are, who can afford to do this, are going and having an ozone treatment first and then going into the sauna. So they might get IV ozone, or they might also get a treatment where they're receiving different light frequencies directly into the blood and increasing that with the benefits by possibly doing some different minerals and vitamins. Some people are actually doing IV vitamin C and then going into the sauna. Some people are doing things like taking resveratrol, which has great benefits also along these lines for increasing the body's ability to Well, it produces a hormetic effect, just like the sauna does. So, these are all things that people are doing to increase their benefits. I personally have been working with taking niacin. Now, if you are somebody with a very low blood pressure, I highly recommend that you check your blood pressure before you would take niacin. And if your blood pressure, the first number, is higher than 100, is lower than 100, I would not take the niacin. But if it's higher than 100, you should be pretty safe to take enough niacin to give you that really uncomfortable red flushing experience. What's happening when you do that is you're bringing the blood to the surface and increasing your circulation. So I tend to do a multiple practice for myself where I will take some niacin at night, or when I first get up in the morning, I'll take a binder. A binder helps your body to pull the toxins out of your body and through your bowel. So I will take a binder when I first get up in the morning and then come downstairs to start to make things. The first thing I'm making is I'm preparing coffee for a coffee enema. And in that enema, I will add salt, electrolytes, small amount of blackstrap molasses, and I also put in 5 drops of tangerine oil, an essential oil of tangerine, which helps the gallbladder to release toxins. The binder helps to support the process that goes on in the body, where when you do a coffee enema, we are not so much trying to support the colon in having a bowel movement, although that is a side effect of it. What we're really trying to accomplish is supporting the liver's detoxification, which happens by the palmitic acid in the coffee stimulating, and the caffeine as well, stimulating the release of bile into the liver, which cleanses the liver. And if you hold the coffee for 15 minutes, you'll be getting 3 times the benefit of clearing the toxins out of the liver, because it takes 5 minutes for the blood to circulate. So if you have it for 15 minutes inside of you, then you'll be getting 3 different releases of that bile into the gallbladder, from the gallbladder and its bile ducts into the liver for cleansing the liver. And so almost everyone speaks about how amazing they feel after doing a coffee enema, because when your liver is more effectively removing toxins, you feel fantastic. Your brain is clearer, your energy is clearer. And if we add to that the benefit of the sauna, it's really quite amazing, because we will then have been removing toxins not only through the liver, but we will be removing toxins also through the skin, as we're giving it the benefit of all the wonderful frequencies from the infrared and the grounding effects of this particular sauna, because this sauna has grounding all through the entire sauna. So we are getting such a multiple effect of benefit from all of this. And then afterwards, and while you're in the sauna, you will be sweating quite a bit. So I encourage people to have a rag and a towel. I need more than a rag when I'm in the sauna, because I sweat an enormous amount. Or I should say, I glisten an enormous amount when I'm in the sauna. And so I will really wipe myself down. If we were doing hypothermia, where you would be perspiring like crazy, we would measure the weight of your towels first, and then we would check the weight of the towels afterwards to get an idea of just how much perspiration took place while you were in the sauna. It's pretty amazing how all that works. So I just wanted to let you know that there is so much that you could do if you were to get a home sauna unit and experience it yourself. Most saunas are run anywhere from $1,200 to $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, depending upon if you're getting wooden ones or fabric ones. I like my little portable sauna for a lot of reasons. And the first one is my head is sitting out of it. Now, if you're going to be releasing that many toxins, you really don't want to be breathing them back in. Not only has Robbie, looked at creating a sauna that has an opening for your head, but he's also created little collars so that you can bring the collar all the way up your neck so that you're not going to be breathing in anything from an open space in the sauna where your neck might be. So that's another real amazing added benefit. When you're in a sauna that's a wooden sauna, as beautiful as they are, first of all, they take an enormous amount of time to heat up, whereas this sauna is really, you can really feel it within a few minutes how hot it's getting. His sauna goes all the way up to 170 degrees. That's almost impossible to accomplish with a wooden sauna, so that's quite a high temperature for the sauna. It has its own little timer on it, and you can set the timer all the way up to 90 minutes. It's all done in 10-minute increments, but I'll show that to you when we go over to the sauna and actually look at it in a few minutes. There's also a wonderful place to put your feet, and it's called a 360 because you literally have panels around 360 degrees of you, so that you're actually getting exposure from the panels all around your entire body. Sometimes I will also encourage people to use castor oil at the same time as they're in the sauna. Castor oil is a wonderful substance that stimulates your lymphatic system. In the past, many people believed that doing a castor oil pack would pull toxins out of the body. Science shows us differently. Science shows us that what it is so beneficial at and why you feel so good after doing castor oil packs over a period of time and why your skin gets so beautiful doing castor oil packs is because you're stimulating your own lymphatic system, and our lymphatic system is amazing at removing toxins through another pathway. So you can also stimulate great benefit by doing a castor oil pack at the same time as you're in the sauna. So there are some truly wonderful, wonderful things you can accomplish at home for yourself with a one-time purchase that will provide you with years and years and years of support for keeping yourself and your family strong and healthy. We're going to go over in just a moment and take a look at the sauna, and I want to let you know that on our website, or you can just give me a call and I can speak to you about the specific benefits for you and your family, and you can purchase them through me, and we'd greatly appreciate it if you did, and that would help us to keep providing you with all this wonderful free information. So thank you so much for joining us, and we're going to come over to the sauna. And so this is the Therasage, and it's made with an antimicrobial satin fabric, which is a really wonderful thing, and it's completely non-toxic. I don't know if that's the case with any of the other products that are portable that are made with fabric, but this one is definitely non-toxic. It has these two wonderful pockets here, and this pocket holds the controller, and you can hit the power button and it comes on, And it's telling you that right now the temperature is 79.6 because I used it earlier today. And then you can increase the temperature level by pushing this button. That's 135, 140, 145, and it goes all the way up to 170, okay? So that's as high as it goes. You can also reduce it by pushing the down button. So it's down to 160, 155, and so forth. Then there's also a timer. So right now it's set at 60. Now I brought it up to 70, but I can also bring it down to 20 minutes or 10 minutes, which we might even recommend for some people who are just getting started and only setting it at perhaps 100 or 120 as a starting place. So there it is at 110 minutes, which might be where we would start for someone who is just beginning. I would say within 8 to 10 minutes, you're going to have a really strong temperature in here, but you'll feel it. You could actually be sweating in 8 to 10 minutes with this device, and that's typically what they recommend that you consider if you wanted to add ozone to your treatment. When your skin is open and you begin to sweat about 8 minutes into the process is when you would turn on a new device that's coming in. I don't have it yet, but it's a small ozonator that goes inside the sauna, and it will provide just enough ozone to support the skin in taking the ozone into the body, and without creating so much that you would have discomfort to the lung. And also you would not have the heavy smell if you were using a medical level ozone device that what you would have when you stop the process into the room, which is challenging to the lung. So this is very protected to the lung and would allow you to get an ozone or oxygen treatment, which is great for supporting your hemoglobin in your blood system. So I'm going to place this back in its little handy-dandy carrier. I don't recommend it unless you are working with the airplane mode, but this pocket is perfect for a cell phone. So to reduce your EMFs, I would not have your cell phone on and looking at emails while you're sitting in here. The zippers are wonderful. They have an inside and outside zipper, so you can have your hands come out and you can read a book while you're in here, or do some different like pranayama kinds of therapies. For people that don't have ozone, you can do some breathing practices while you're in the sauna that will increase your your oxygen, and we have talked about some of those in previous videos. But I'll just use a term that some of you may know, which is called breath of fire. You could do breath of fire while you're in the sauna, which would be increasing your oxygen absorption. And now I'm going to open up the sauna and show you what's inside. Oh, before I do, I wanted to show you that here is that wonderful little neck protection, which I've not seen on any other sauna, which will allow your body to be in the ozone and, not in the ozone, sorry, in the heat. Oh boy, I can sure feel it coming up right now. And your head would be up here, so your head would be protected from the excess heat. We're never supposed to overheat our heads. And you would be keeping the heat in. And if you're using ozone, you'll also be keeping the ozone in so that you won't be breathing it or having any challenges to the lung. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to open up the sauna. It has a really lovely zipper. And this is called a 360 because on the sides we have panels that are producing your 3 types of far infrared, or far, near, and medium infrared in the back. And here, the panel back here. On the side, you can hear the panel. And here is a front panel which lifts out if you choose to lift it out and to get in or out, or you could just step over it. And this panel has these sides that bend in, so it will conform perfectly to the outer perimeter of the sauna. And then we have this foot pad, and it shows you exactly where to place your feet. And you can notice that there's a chair here. It's a little hard to see because of how dark it is. We always recommend that you put a towel down. So here's a towel that's going down on the sauna seat. And then you bring in a wash rag. I'm not going to actually be doing my sauna. I would always bring in an extra towel and a wash rag because I glisten so much. And it's really easy to get in. You just step over or take this out and walk in if you're in any way having difficulty with movement. You get inside the sauna, and then from the inside, I can zip it right up. I'm going to move my hair out of the way, so I'm going to unzip these so I have access to my hands for a little bit. And I'm going to move my hair out of the way. Typically I wear it up on top of my head when I do this. And I'll zip this up and put my little neck piece on here, and I'm ready to go. And this neck piece is Velcroed in, so it's really easy to take it off, wash it, and they come with an extra one, so you have one to use while one's being washed. And now I'm in my sauna. If I want, I can read, or I can put this down. And there are shortly going to be some accessories which will make a little table here so that you could place your tea there or your computer if you wanted to have it to do some work while you're inside the sauna, so that if you are on a deadline, you can do that. Also going to be the availability for those of you who love aromatherapy to have a little special aromatherapy diffuser that goes inside as well. I'm hoping that you're excited about this possibility and considering how it could be of great benefit to you and your family in supporting your body in its own long, healthy, fulfilling life. So thanks for joining us, and I look forward to hearing your comments about our show.